Well, students, so today we learned certain points related to the presentation skills, and there are yet to be continued, or there are certain more points yet to be continued. So today, as we are running short of time, we are not going to finalize it, the presentation skills. Okay, so that's all for today's topic, and the remaining part of the topic will be continued in the next session. So till then, have a nice time. Hello, welcome my dear students. I'm very happy to present before you the flipped class sessions of English language developed under the World Bank project, Institutional Development Plan of National Agricultural Higher Educational Project, implemented by the University of Agricultural Sciences, Dharwad. Okay, so today we are going to learn the topic called as the presentation skills. Now, what is a presentation? A presentation is a live mode of sharing factual information with a select audience. The presentation can be made over various fields. Now, what are the fields we are going to have a presentation? The presentations can be made on the business proposals. Number one, product presentation and marketing. Now, whatever we produce the products and we are going to present it, and about the marketing, we can do the presentation. And even the number three, project research. Number four, job-oriented fields. Number five, business enhancing. Number six, short lectures at college or university. And number seven, annual reports in any organization. Number eight, industrial meets, and so on. So in those fields, we make the presentation. Now, let us discuss what are the characteristics of a presentation. A clear structure with an introduction, discussion, and end. That should be the most important point about the characteristic of a presentation. Number two, the facts and figures to be presented in tables, graphs, and charts. Now, whenever you have the tables or graphs or the charts, you're going to present it according to the situations and as well as the slides. Number three, different colors can be used to make the presentation of the content attractive. Number four, the questions are given serious attention. Now, the questions are given a very serious attention in order to ask the audience, and the audience will ask you certain questions that also you should be in a position to answer them, and they are the essential part of the presentation. Okay, now let us come to know how to compile a presentation. Okay, so what are the main characteristics we have to keep in mind when you are compiling a presentation? So the first point is gather complete data necessary for the topic. So as much as possible, gather the data, present it in a proper way about the topic. Number two, make points. That means after gathering the data, you have to make the points one by one. Now, the third point is arrange it in a sequence. Now, after making the points roughly, now we are going to select it. Now, you are going to make it as a sequence. So, one by one, one after the other, and according to the step by step. Okay. Now, the third one is prepare proper slides. Now, after arranging it in a sequence, you have to prepare proper slides. Okay. So, the next point is introduction and conclusion are very much essential. Now, after you make a proper slides, everything is over, then the next point is you have to give an introduction, and at the end of the slide you are going to conclude those slides. Okay. Now, after that, so one more point we should always keep in mind is add tables, graphs, charts, pictures, etc. wherever it is necessary. Okay. The next point is we are going to have a discussion on what are the do's and don'ts in a presentation? Now, whenever you have the presentation, we are going to give a presentation, PowerPoint presentation. There are certain things we have to keep in mind. So, certain do's are there and certain don'ts are there. So, what are the do's and what are the don'ts? Okay. So, now we are going to see the do's in a presentation. Now, first thing is identify the needs and purpose of the presentation. Now, the first thing is we have to identify the needs and the purpose of your presentation. For what purpose you are going to give the presentation, what are the needs of the presentation. Number two, analyze your audience. Now, first we have to analyze what type of audience you have, whether they are going to judge it in a proper way or whether they are going to have your presentation in a very serious manner. So, likewise. Okay, so analyze your audience. You are going to check the audience or you are going to analyze the audience in what way you are going to give the presentation. Okay, so number three, gather as much information as required about the presentation. Number four, make bullet points of important data. Now, whatever the data you have collected, so there are certain data which they are not so important, whereas you can have an explanation while presenting the slides. Okay, but whichever the points are very important, you are going to prepare bullet points and arrange it in a chronological order if needed. Now, if you have certain data which is related to the time factors, analyze or arrange it in a chronological order. So, one by one. So, if it is related to the past event, first the past event comes, next the next past, so again the present, and if there is something which is related to the future, you can have the thing in a next order. Okay, so next design the slides as per the time allotted. Now, whenever you have the presentation, you have certain time limits. So, during that time or within that time, you have to finish up your presentation. Now, accordingly, you have to design the slides according to the time allotted. Now, it should not happen like the time is allotted for 20 minutes and your presentation and the designing of slides in such a way that it goes beyond the 20 minutes of time. So, that should not be happening there. Okay, so design the slides as per the time allotted. Memorize sub points related to the main bullet points. Now, as I already told you that we have certain important points or important data, you are going to make it in a bullet points. There are certain things which are correlated to the important points. So, what you can do first, you are going to rehearse it or you are going to memorize it, and then you are going to attach it or you are going to correlate it whenever you have the presentation. Now, the next is add images, graphs, tables, charts, etc. wherever necessary, as we have already discussed it before. Next, correlate the bullet points that I have already told about this. Make proper ending of slides. Now, the slides should not be jumbled in such a way that you will not be in a position to give a proper ending. Okay, so concentrate on the sentence structures, grammar points and simple sentences. Okay, the next is consult experts before presenting and finalizing. Now, when you prepare a slide or when you prepare the complete presentation, don't assume that you have made it perfectly. It is better to consult the expert, show them, ask their opinion, suggestion, and accordingly modify the slides or modify your presentation. So, don't hesitate to consult the experts. Okay, so adjust the time with respect to your speech and slide shows. Okay, so you should always adjust the time, okay, with respect to your speech and as well as the time slide shows. Okay, so the timing should not be like, the slide which you are talking about and the speech which you are giving. So that should always coincide with each other. It should not happen like the slide goes on and you're going to you're still talking with the same previous slides. Okay, and already the new slide has appeared on the screen. So that should not happen. Okay, now next is rehearse as well as much as possible well and tune up yourself. Okay, so after the presentation slides, everything is over, after consulting the experts, have a rehearsal. So make a time slot, make a particular time management. Okay, so after that you're going to have a rehearsal about that. Okay, so next is use suitable fonts and size that are readable. Okay, so when you prepare the slides, use proper fonts and also the designs, the size of the fonts, so that the audience can easily read that. It should not be like long, a very small size or very small letters should be there, and the audience are not able to see your whatever you have written. Okay, right, you have made a presentation. Okay, so make an impressive start and the end. Now when you make a start, so be it very impressive, and when you complete it or when you conclude it, so it should have a proper end and it should be a very impressive end. So have a smile on your face throughout the session. Now when you start the presentation and till you end the presentation, have a smile on your face. You should not look very serious and very arrogant or something like that. Okay, right? Next is consider and pay attention to every audience present there. Okay, so you should have a proper eye contact. Okay, you should not look at the individual person or individual group. Okay, so that we should always keep in mind. Okay, so use suitable body languages. Okay, so use proper introduction of your voice or intonation of your voice. Okay, so the introduction of your voice, it should not be very harsh or very loud or very slow or very low also. Okay, so use a proper intonation of your voice, that is, intonation means the rise and fall of your voice. Okay, so be well prepared in answering any question related to your topic. So after you finish your slide or when your presentation, the audience will ask you certain questions and the questions should be answerable. Okay, so you should be in a position to answer any question which is related to your topic by the audience. Okay, so next is groom yourself properly. Okay, so groom yourself, that means your appearance. Okay, so your your way of standing, speaking, okay, all these things, the overall structure of yours. Okay, so the overall structure of yours should be very well groomed. Okay, so tune up your voice as per the ambience. So observe the entire hall and as per the size of the hall, that is the size of the ambient structure, so tune up your voice. So if the hall is very small and you need to be too loud, so that should not happen. Or if the hall is very big or very vast or very wide and your voice is very low, then also it is not acceptable. Okay, so have proper eye contact towards the audience. Okay, you should have a proper eye contact. You should have an eye contact throughout the audiences. Don't look at one particular person or one particular group of people. Pay attention to your gestures, postures, non-verbal communication, and also about your health. Okay, so your health should also be very fit when you give a proper presentation. Okay, so feel free to ask questions or queries from the audience. After your presentation is over, you should always be free to invite the questions or any queries from the audience, and you should accept it. Try to give the proper solution about the queries or the questions. Okay, so be courteous, polite, kind, humble, honest, considerate, gentle, true, factual, and sincere in the entire presentation. So all these characters should be present in you when you give a presentation. Be confident, that your presentation will be a successful one. Okay, so